We learned such an incredible lesson from Parshas Noach. The Torah portion we're going to read tomorrow in the Shul. Much has been said already about the Almighty looking down upon humanity at that time and noticing that there was something called Hamas, the Hebrew biblical word Hamas, Chet Mem Samech in the Hebrew, which is really robbery, but a deeper robbery. It's a corruption of humanity, a corruption of the earth, that they just stole wantonly from each other. There was no brotherhood of man. And so the Almighty was forced to destroy the entire world. That much has been said that, God willing, the same should happen to the terrorist organization. But beyond that is another powerful point which is well known, but we must be reminded of, and we're seeing this happen with our very eyes. There was two generations in tomorrow's Torah portion. The generation of the flood, in Hebrew the Dor HaMabul, and then there was another generation later, not so long after, called the Dor HaFlaga, and that's the generation of dispersion. And we know the story from Hebrew school. Noah builds an ark, him and his family are saved along with the animals, or enough animals to repopulate the world. The rest of humanity, including the very earth itself, is scorched, rubbed out, exterminated, and the world renews. But the generation of dispersion, the Almighty, what did they want to do? They wanted to fight against God. So they build the Tower of Babel. Incidentally, one of the greatest book titles I've ever read was by Dory Gold, the former UN ambassador to Israel, where he had a picture of the UN headquarters and he called it Tower of Babel. But the generation of the Tower of Babel wanted to fight against God. They wanted to do away with Him and His values. So they build this huge tower to the heavens to fight God. Whatever that means exactly, it's not important right now. Their punishment and consequence was that the Almighty confused them, made them speak multiple languages, they couldn't get along, and they ended up dispersing. So I don't understand. Obvious question. They want to fight against the Creator of the world, and the Almighty doesn't punish them, He just separates them. But the people who were just stealing from each other, that the Almighty felt the need to wipe away humanity and kill everyone, including the animals and the very earth itself, the topmost layer of the earth, we're taught, that even became scorched, and He had to repopulate the earth and regenerate the entire soil and ground? The answer is yes. This is how powerful, as I said last week in the synagogue, how intoxicating and how necessary unity is for humanity, not only the Jewish people. Because the generation of the Tower of Babel, they were completely and utterly united in their one drive. A silly drive, obviously. A terrible desire to wipe out the values of God. But there was total shalom between them. There was total peace and unity. And the Almighty says, if they're unified, I myself can't even touch them by the rules of nature that I have created and imposed upon this world and mankind. The best I can do is to take away their unity and then give them the consequence. And what's that? So He made them all speak different languages, which caused confusion and disunity, but He didn't punish them even further because they were unified. The generation of the flood were completely disunified. They didn't care about God, they weren't fighting God, but they were hurting each other. Robbery is the greatest corruption of the human spirit. And I think we're all agreeing that what we're seeing now amongst the Jewish people and in Israel is the greatest week or 2 weeks of unification that I have personally ever seen in my lifetime. And it's so important to remember that what led us to this point, tragically. We wish we did not learn the lesson this way, of course, 1,000,000 times over, but the state of Israel was literally, perhaps, on the verge of a civil war. The country was being torn into two, ripped asunder by the divisions of left and right, religious, irreligious, politics, Netanyahu this, Netanyahu that. And now none of that really seems to matter. Maybe it will eventually, but for now at least, we have learned the lesson. And with this unity that the Jewish people are inhabiting, nothing can stop us. Let us pray that we continue the incredible kindness, the learning, the prayers, the wisdom that we have all helped each other with and helped the state of Israel with. We must keep this momentum of unity for the sake of Am Yisrael, for the sake of our homeland, for the sake of the soldiers, and for the sake of the captives. Am Yisrael Chai, Shabbat Shalom.